here for hours, it's getting dark, and we did everything and nothing at all. And I should leave, 'cause this is bad. Your hands make up for the love we don't have.
Safe to say, if you love Alfa Romeo, you can never get enough of it. Yet Giulia is fast approaching 10 years old. Now, most cars would have gone through a complete makeover by now. But no Giulia. Does she think she's so special? As we get older, we all need a bit of a nip and tuck. So here we are, Giulia Competizione. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous in this paint color. What do you think? Competizione, a rather ballsy name. Once the rubber hits the road, just what it will be? Well, let's hop in and find out. 1, 2, 3. The bonnet, we've got the familiar 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, which produces 280 horses and 400 newton meters of torque. Now, this is an all-wheel drive model, but depending on the market, for example in the UK, you only get the rear-wheel drive option for Giulia. In Poland, we only get all-wheel drive, clearly to keep all the naughty Poles at bay. Now, we also have a plug-in hybrid and hybrid available. Just kidding. I did get you, didn't I? No, there's no hybrid or plug-in hybrid available. That's enough about the numbers under the bonnet. Let's check the boot space. We've got 480 liters of space. A rather, well, you can say fairly practical boot space. There are no hooks, no netting, no underfloor storage. That's enough about the boot space. Being a passenger here is not too bad. I've got decent legroom, decent headroom, middle seat, knees. No can do, because you've got this huge pillar here. So it's a comfortable space for 2 adults. What is new in the new Giulia? Well, actually, not that much. On the outside, the styling, other than the new lights, remains untouched. And Competizione is just a name for a new trim. What you get with the Competizione on the inside, for example, the Harman Kardon speakers, the leather-wrapped dashboard, which looks beautiful. The exterior paint color, well, that's special, and that's, of course, extra. It is called Matte Moonlight Grey, although it's got a hint of blue. It just looks so angelic. But I also think it would work better with the brown colored interior, but hey, that's just me. So the quality of the materials, the fit and finish is very, very good. I mean, it's Italian, for goodness sake. If it wasn't good, I would literally get offended, okay? I do like the steering wheel, aluminum paddle shifters. It is boiling outside, and these are nice and cool and chilled. We want people to be like that, right? They're not always like this. So we've got a start and stop button on the steering wheel, just like in a Ferrari. The shortcut buttons, clean and simple layout. The digital driver's display. So no more traditional dials. That's the change in the new Giulia. It's a shame, because I did like those traditional dials. It just gave Giulia that nice Italian flavor, but oh well, that's gone. All right, let's hop into practicality. Ladroworotist. You can fit, nope, you can't fit that in a side bin. Nothing bulky will go without a fight. You can pop that bottle in here, very good. Keeps you hydrated. There's plenty of storage space, wireless mobile charging, USB-C port, USB port, 12-volt socket. Very practical. Glove box. Medium size. more storage space down here, another USB port, 12-volt socket, this is space for your key. Very good. You've got traditional dials and knobs for climate control, for volume control. Very good. Look how beautifully this touch screen has been built into the dash. But there's a will, there's a way. The system itself is easy, straightforward. Is this the most advanced and intuitive infotainment system I have seen in a car? No. But you don't buy an Italian car for a great infotainment system. Come on. Let's have a look at the graphics though. It's actually pretty quick to respond to the touch of your fingers. The graphics are alright. You can operate it also with the swivel down here, which I tend to do. It's less distracting and it's just a little bit more practical whilst you're driving. I do like the gear lever. Got this beautiful red stitching, very good. Italian flag, nice little touch. You also have this red stitching on the steering wheel, very good. Again, traditional knob for your volume, so it's all sort of a little bit old school. It's functional, it's practical. They didn't go crazy with the sliders, with the touches. So the cabin, I mean, I've always loved the cabin of Alfa Romeo. It just feels like home. Well, it would be rather rude not to do launch control this Italian diva, so let's go. Dynamic mode activated, automatic start and stop button deactivated, foot on the brake, foot on the throttle. Let's warm me up and off we go. Pretty good start. So the declared 0 to 100 is 5.2 seconds and I am 5.19. Wow, not bad that was. Of course, I always hope for a better result, a far better result. So anyway, the top speed is 240 kilometers an hour. I'm telling you, Italian goddess. So Giulia looks gorgeous on the outside, but when you start driving her, this is when you begin to feel truly special. And everybody is looking at you, to the point of screaming, Giulia, Giulia. It's hysterical because I've driven cars which are far more expensive than this one and nobody gave a toss about. Of course, all this attention just reinforces the way you feel more special. And moral of the story is Alfa Romeo Giulia is still a very, very unique. But she's also a comfy daily driver, reasonably practical, reasonably quiet. With the Competizione trim, we get adaptive suspension, which absorbs bumps, potholes, and imperfections very well. It never feels harsh, and it never feels raw. Now, speaking of trims, Alfa has finally simplified matters. So we've got Sprint as the basic trim, then Veloce, then Competizione. Now let's get some practicalities out of the way. Fuel economy, actually, I had to reset my figures because this diagram is a bit of a mumbo jumbo. So give me a couple of dice to get the results and I'll put them on the screen. Now Giulia is easy to drive, it's easy to maneuver. The visibility is pretty good, pretty big rear window. Here, large mirrors can obstruct your view if you don't adjust your seat properly. Then again, with Stelvio, I complained that the mirrors are too small. Just shows you human nature is designed to bitch. Will you see? Yes, you just gotta pay attention. Handling and steering here is magnificent. This car sits so flat around the corners. We've got a perfect weight distribution, 50-50, so it feels light and it feels nifty. The steering is sharp, quick, precise, and as soon as you hop on a twisty road, you do get a cold, hard reminder as to why you have bought this car in the first place, because it performs beautifully. Now, it is also often compared to the BMW 3 Series. I mean, I can see why. Both are sporty saloons. But I think the BMW, especially the recent generation, has been built with comfort in mind as a priority over sportiness. And I feel with Giulia, it's the other way around. Now, unless we're talking about the M340i, but that is a performance car. I have reviewed this recently. It's amazing. So is this one. Making your life easier. I'm a woman. I'm allowed to do that. Now let's fiddle with DNA, driving modes. Not the human DNA, this we'll leave to Bill Gates. A stands for advanced efficiency. If you want to save yourself some dosh on fuel. Boring! But I do activate it on days I feel poor. Then we've got N, which stands for natural. Foot down. Pretty good. Bit of a delay, but it is fine. And then of course we've got D, dynamic. And I'm gonna floor it because I'm not here to nanny the throttle pedal. And I'm gonna do it around the corner. Fun, fun, fun! Although, I hate to say it, there's still a tiny bit of a delay. And this, my dearest, is the difference with the new Giulia. It is actually not Alfa Romeo's fault, because Giulia is yet another victim of the emission standards created by the dear beloved European Union. I mean, it still feels feisty and ballsy, a tiny bit castrated. If you haven't driven Giulia before, you'll love it, you'll be fine. But if you have, well, you will notice the mild difference. I do hope the new Giulia Quadrifolgio is not going to be this political victim. Well, September comes and we will know. We've got an 8-speed automatic gearbox and these lovely aluminium paddle shifters, which they now come as standard in all Giulia trims. A very wise move from Alfa Romeo. Having these and being able to flick the gear lever to a manual mode gives you full control, and actually it removes the need for a traditional manual gearbox. Let's not forget, this is supposed to be a practical daily saloon. The gearbox is quick, generally speaking, but there's a slight hesitation on the downshift. So you're driving, you're slowing down, the gearbox starts to ponder, wander, and then finally changes the gear. And there's a certain sharpness feel to it. It's not a smooth operator. It's Italian, surprisingly, right? I suspect it's got something to do with softening the throttle response, so they fiddled with that, and they haven't quite fine-tuned the gearbox. Well, let's not panic, it's still pretty good, and eventually the Italians should resolve it. We just have to give them a few years. So is Giulia the right car for you? Or perhaps the 3 Series is more suitable? Well, it depends who you are and it depends what you want out of life. Cars are very much like people. You can always go ahead and marry a stable German, or take it even further, Swiss. You live happily ever after, until one day you walk on the street and you see this hot Italian. And you think to yourself, God damn it, I could have gone in this direction. You can always get rid of the boring partner, and luckily it's much easier with cars if you've made the wrong choice. Now you see what an Italian car will do. It'll surely keep you on your toes. You might shed a few tears, a few dollars, because sometimes you press go and it says no. I mean, if you want reliability, you can go as far as getting yourself a Prius. What Giulia will do, it will make you alive, sexy. It will make sure you have fun. You see, the fact that it's a sensible car is a bonus and a cherry on the cake. And it's for the name Competizione. Well, it competes with a lot of cars in different categories, but there's one category that it will win 100%, and that is your heart. But to understand it, you've got to physically experience it. As for me personally, I absolutely love Giulia. I think it's one of the greatest cars ever built. Period. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!